History doesn't remember obedience. They told you he failed, that he was slow, that he didn't fit the system. But history doesn't remember obedience. It remembers disruption. Before the world called him a genius, he was just a boy who refused to memorize, a student who questioned everything, a man who chose truth over power. This is not the story of intelligence. It's the story of courage. The courage to think differently. The courage to stand alone. The courage to say no to a nation. This is the real story of Albert Einstein.
The misunderstood beginning of a genius. Albert Einstein. Today, his name is almost synonymous with intelligence itself. Yet, ironically, one of the most common stories told about him is wrong. Einstein failed math at school. You've heard it before. Told to comfort struggling students. Repeated to inspire late bloomers. Sometimes even used to excuse mediocrity. But the truth is far more unsettling. Albert Einstein did not fail mathematics. He excelled at it. As a child, he grasped complex numerical concepts intuitively. By the age of 12, he was teaching himself advanced mathematics from books far beyond his grade level. Physics wasn't a subject to him. It was a playground. So why was he labeled a failure? Because Einstein didn't memorize. He questioned. He refused to accept knowledge without understanding it. His problem was never learning. It was obedience. Albert Einstein was born in 1879 in Germany. He was a quiet child. He spoke later than his peers. His family worried. Teachers grew impatient. What no one realized was this: Einstein didn't think in words. He thought in images. Before forming sentences, he was already constructing the universe in his mind. As he grew older, his conflict with the education system deepened. School rewarded discipline, not curiosity. Compliance, not imagination. Einstein wanted freedom of thought. Teachers complained that he disrupted order. One even told him he would never amount to anything. And right there, a myth was born. One that history would later distort. Einstein wasn't unsuccessful. Einstein was incompatible with the system. University brought no relief. He skipped lectures, challenged professors, refused to play by the rules. When he graduated, the academic doors remained closed. No laboratory, no university position, no prestigious appointment. Instead, Albert Einstein found himself working as a clerk at the Swiss patent office. By day, he evaluated other people's inventions. By night, he asked questions no one else dared to ask. Is time absolute? Why does light always move at the same speed? Is the universe really as simple as we think? In 1905, his miracle year, Einstein published a series of papers that shook the foundations of physics. Relativity, the photoelectric effect, the equivalence of mass and energy. These ideas didn't just change science, they changed how humanity understood reality itself. Einstein was no longer just a physicist. He had become a mind that redefined limits. As the years passed, his name reached far beyond academia. Einstein opposed war, rejected nationalism, spoke openly against racism. He warned about the destructive potential of scientific power and insisted that knowledge must be guided by conscience. He was respected not only for his brilliance, but for his moral stance. Einstein was becoming someone rare, an ethical intelligence. And it was precisely for this reason that in 1952, an unexpected door began to open. A newly formed nation was searching not for political strength, but for moral unity. Its eyes turned towards Albert Einstein. The weight of genius, knowledge, conscience, and responsibility. As Albert Einstein rose scientists rallied behind their nations, Einstein refused. He called nationalism an infantile disease of humanity. To him, war was not intelligence at work, but fear. This stance isolated him, but it also defined him. By the 1930s, darkness was spreading across Europe. Nazism was rising, racism became state policy. Einstein was Jewish, but more than that, he was human. He fled Germany, his citizenship was revoked, his books were burned. In the United States, he was no longer just a scientist, he was a refugee of reason. Yet history dealt a cruel irony. His ideas would indirectly contribute to the most devastating weapon humanity had ever created. In 1939, Einstein was asked to sign a letter. That letter urged the United States to pursue atomic weapons. Einstein hesitated, but there was fear that Nazi Germany might reach such power first. He signed. Years later, Hiroshima and Nagasaki revealed what that power truly meant. Einstein was haunted by regret. For the rest of his life, he campaigned against nuclear weapons, advocated for peace, warned of science without ethics. He was no longer explaining the universe, he was warning humanity. This is why Albert Einstein's name echoed beyond science. He didn't seek power, but power sought the values he embodied: humility, moral clarity, the courage to refuse domination. When Einstein spoke, people listened because he never spoke for himself. Without intending to, he had become a political figure. And by 1952, a young nation believed those qualities were exactly what it needed. Not a general, not a politician, but a conscience. And that conscience had a name: Albert Einstein.
The man who refused power. The year is 1952. Albert Einstein is 73 years old. Wild hair, a familiar face across the globe. Yet his life was never grand. He lived simply, avoided luxury, preferred quiet rooms to grand halls. Then a letter arrived. It came from the State of Israel. The nation was newly formed, and it was not merely seeking a president, it was seeking a message to the world. We stand for reason, not force, for wisdom, not domination. And for that message, they chose Albert Einstein. The presidency of Israel was formally offered to him. It was an unprecedented moment in history. A scientist, a thinker, a former patent clerk, offered the highest office of a nation. Einstein did not celebrate, he did not boast, he paused. Because throughout his life, he had asked a different question. Not, what do I want, but what am I not suited for? And he knew the answer. Albert Einstein declined the offer, not out of fear, not out of avoidance, but out of honesty. He replied, "I do not have the natural ability or experience to deal properly with people." Simple words, profound meaning. Einstein understood that power can corrupt even the well-intentioned. He did not want authority. He did not want command. He did not want to rule over others, because he had spent his entire life questioning authority. This refusal did not diminish him. It elevated him. Few people in history have been offered immense power and consciously turned it away. Einstein understood something rare. Anyone can lead, but very few know where they belong. Albert Einstein spent his final years thinking, speaking for peace, warning against violence. He never became a head of state, but his ideas shaped nations. He never commanded armies, but his thoughts changed direction for millions. And perhaps that is his greatest lesson. Success is not always about reaching the top. Sometimes, true greatness lies in knowing what to refuse. Albert Einstein sought to understand the universe, to protect humanity from itself. And by turning away from power, he left behind a timeless truth.
Greatness is not measured by how high you rise, but by what you choose not to carry.